What's up, everybody? Adam here, and welcome to the comic book haul for the week of January 13th, 2016. We got a lot of books to go over, so we're going to get right into what was picked up. I'm going to kick off the show this week with Secret Wars number 9, the last issue in the series. I am incredibly thankful that this is finally over. I was a little disappointed with the series overall. The last two issues kind of had a real big hype with the big battle that was going on, so I was really hoping that Secret Wars was going to lay out and deliver really, really hard, and instead of ending with a bang, I think it kind of fizzled out. Although I do have to say I really enjoyed the last page. If you have read the book, you'll kind of understand why. I'm very interested to see what's going to go on with that character, especially with, what happened for them. So I want to see what happens with them after Secret Wars. But Secret Wars as a whole, I don't really see why they need to make it 9. I feel like there was some stuff that was crammed in there. It just really wasn't necessary. It just felt a little, unfulfilling. There's a mishmash of everything. It didn't feel really cohesive. But I'm glad it's over. Now we can move forward with the all-new, all-different Marvel Universe. Speaking of which, we're going to have Sam Wilson, Captain America number 5, featuring or introducing the all-new Falcon. I'm curious to see who this Falcon is. I haven't read any of these Captain America books. I've heard a lot of good about them. Everybody seems to really be enjoying the take of Sam as Cap, so I'm curious to see who's taking up the mantle of the Falcon after Sam, since, Sam's taken over the mantle of Captain America from Steve right now. So I might actually read that one to see what's going on. Then we have Guardians of the Galaxy number 4. Wasn't sure if it was number 4 or number 5. Want to make sure I had my numbers right. Another one, I haven't really read a lot of it. I think I've read the first issue, and that's about it. Although I do really like the cover going on here with Rocket standing over the remainder of the Guardians, kind of blasting away, possibly trying to murder as much as he can before he also gets knocked down. But I need to really get caught up on this one, because I really enjoyed the first issue. So I need to get caught up on this one. Another one that I'm not really reading, mainly just picking up from my wife, Illuminati number 3. All of these covers are pretty exciting. There always seems to be a lot of action going on them. So I really need to start reading these, see what's going on. Thankfully, there's only 3 issues, so I'm not too terribly far behind if I want to get caught up on what's going on. Speaking of, thankfully there's only 3 issues and getting caught up, The Mighty Thor number 3. Again, another one I've only read the first issue of. Really enjoyed that story, kind of like what they're setting up in this series. So I really need to read the second issue and then get right into this one, so I can kind of see if it's, a story I want to keep reading at least. My wife has me picking it up because she's been enjoying it thus far as well. If she wasn't enjoying it, I may not have continued to pick it up because it's not as high on my like list, but since she's really enjoying it, gives me an excuse to pick it up. A book I don't need an excuse to pick up, though, all new Wolverine number 4. And I'm pretty excited because this one seems to also be featuring Doctor Strange. Another character I'm really getting into with the, relaunch of the all new, all different Marvel stuff. So I'm curious to see what these two people are going to be doing in all new Wolverine number 4. And another number 4. A lot of books coming out, roughly the same issues. Uncanny Avengers number 4, and I'm loving the fastball special reference. My bad, everybody. Fastball special reference here of Rogue tossing Deadpool there for the oddball special. So hopefully either this issue or the next issue will wrap up this initial storyline of the Terrigen Mist plant dude. It feels very reminiscent of the Avengers relaunch for the Marvel Now, when they were having the planet terraformed by the creators or whatever they were. I don't know, I wasn't terribly interested in that story, but it's very similar to that. So I'm looking forward to that being over soon. Then we have Web Warriors number 3. This is probably my favorite, I don't know if I want to say spin-off title, but of all the different spider titles that have launched, this one thus far has been my favorite. Amazing Spider-Man's probably right underneath it. Although I do need to read Spidey, so for all I know, Spidey could be up here, then Web Warriors, but you get the point. I really enjoy this. Very very Exiles meets Spider-Man type of thing. So it's really cool. I'm really liking it. Check it out if you can. And then my favorite X title also came out this week, Extraordinary X-Men number 5. Although I have to say, the Uncanny X-Men number 1 that I read last week, very, very good. Very, very good title. Could give Extraordinary X-Men run for its money as being my favorite X-Men title that's been released. But I'm really liking this book. I want to get into this issue and just keep going. Although, like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the artwork, especially with, like Storm's hair here. That's a lot of, that's some hairstyle. That's everything we picked up in Marvel this week. So now we're going to get into DC, and we're going to start with a new miniseries I have coming out, Green Lantern Corps Edge of Oblivion number 1. I haven't really read a lot of the Green Lantern stuff. My wife's been reading The Lost Army. That's why I picked this up. I figured she would have an interest in this. I'm not sure how this spins out of either the main title or Lost Army, or if it even comes out of it at all. So I picked it up. I may give it a read because I'm also a big Green Lantern fan. So I'll give it a shot and see what's going on in there. Then we have, which was kind of, to my surprise, I didn't realize it was ending this soon. Robin War number 2 is the conclusion to the Robin War story. So I have all of the parts of the Robin War, I think, including the, not the main parts, but just kind of like the tie-in books. So I have no excuse now not to sit down and read all of it to figure out what the Robin Wars are about. Although from issue 1, it seems to be about getting Dick Grayson. I'm assuming that the Court of Owls is trying to get Dick Grayson into being a Talon. It's what I'm assuming it's about. But, that was only from reading Robin War issue 1. So now that I have the second issue, the conclusion of the storyline, I can see what the Robin War truly was about. Speaking of DC miniseries again, here we have Superman American Alien number 3. Number 2 was the second issue was my pick of the week a couple of weeks ago. I've not had an opportunity to read it yet though, but now I have 2 and 3, and it looks like Clark's kind of hanging out with some hotties there. He's got all them powers. I guess maybe he's flaunting them a little bit. I don't know. This is kind of an interesting look at, Kal-El or Clark Kent or whatever you want to say here. So, and from everything I've always seen, he was very reserved. So, maybe they're doing a different spin on him. And I'm okay with that. Yet another DC limited series, Batman and Ninja Turtles number 2. I only got about halfway through the first one. I know comic books aren't terribly long, but I was reading it before getting to bed and I just haven't picked it back up yet. But even if I don't particularly care for the series, I'm probably still going to pick it up through its entirety. It's only 6 issues, so after I finish the first issue and then this one, maybe I'll have a little bit more of a firm opinion on it. But I got about halfway through the first one. It's definitely interesting. The Ninja Turtles break into someplace to try and stop something, and then Batman thinks they're doing something bad, and that's about as far as I got. It's usually one of those crossover type of things where the superheroes almost always fight each other due to a misunderstanding. So we'll see if it kind of plays away from that trope. Then we have, for my wife, Red Hood and Arsenal number 8, the regular version, and then she also wanted the adult coloring book version. And she already said that she wants to start coloring this tonight, and I'm fine with that. It's her book. She can do what she wants with it. I don't really think the rarity of these books is enough to be like, don't color them. They seem to be plentiful, so she can color out all she wants. And then the last DC book we have is Batman and Robin Eternal number 15. This is a series that my wife hasn't really read a lot of it, and I'm still really behind in it, so I don't really know how much more of it I want to keep picking up. It's kind of expensive buying a book every single week and not reading it. And I think I've only read up to like issue 6 or 7. So I'm 8. So that's almost like 2 months behind at this point. So yeah, I need to either start reading or not pick it up. Maybe pick up the parts I miss in trade or something. I don't know. But it's becoming a, financial burden for not reading something. Now, that's everything we picked up in DC this week, which is going to bring us to the independent titles. And we're going to start with Huck issue number 3. I loved issue 1. Issue 2 added a little bit to the story, but didn't really feel like it moved it anywhere. So what I'm really hoping is in issue 3, it kind of starts developing the characters a little more and developing the story more. Because issue 1, I thought did a pretty good job of introducing everybody. Issue 2 introduced a couple of characters, but didn't really move the story anywhere. So that's where I'm hoping issue 3 comes in. Now that we've seen more characters, the third issue can kind of push forward where we're going as a story. So I'm not ready to dump out of it yet, but if it doesn't start moving somewhere, I may not hang around. Then the other indie title, if you can call it indie at this point, I picked up Walking Dead number 150, and my shop had quite a few covers to choose from, but I went ahead and went with this one because I like how it's very reminiscent of the Walking Dead issue 1 cover. I really don't know what's going on in the story. I've mainly read The Walking Dead in trade form, so I haven't followed anything since after, I want to say, the 20th volume. So I don't really know where we've reached from that point. I have contemplated starting picking this up and following it monthly, especially since there seems to be crazy collectible value in a lot of these stories simply because of the TV show and the emotional draw of this. It is one of my favorite comic books. I just like to read it in trade form. So I might start trying to find a good jumping on point and start actually reading it. But I just wanted to pick it up because it was the 150th issue and just kind of a cool thing. Kind of like how I picked up the final Witchblade issue ever made. It's, it's not something I really read, but it's the last book. So this one's, number 150 anniversary. It's cool. And with all of that stuff out of the way, we are going to look at this week's comic book pick of the week. It's actually kind of really cool. Like, I looked at it a little bit. I read it before just to kind of cement if it was going to be my pick, because it was a toss-up between this and Secret Wars number 9 since it finally ended. But I ended up going with this one because it had just kind of a cool premise. It's a book about a world of magic after World War II, and there's people that can't use magic, and this guy really wants to use magic, so he's going about it any way he can to become a magic user. And that book is called Gutter Magic number 1 right here. And it's 1 of 4 issues, so it's not a terribly long series. But what's really cool about it is, if you can see in the corner here, it's from IDW. But it's from a thing called Comics Experience. And what's neat about it is there's actually a thing in here where they help you break into comics, and you can kind of, this is their things here, and they actually will help you get your stories published. So Gutter Magic here probably was just somebody's idea that they were trying to toss around anywhere, and they got into this, Comics Experience, and they were able to actually get their story published. And after reading it, it actually was a very interesting story. Without trying to give away too much in the book, the main character is trying to get magic, and the reason he wants magic is because he comes from a family of magic users, but for whatever reason, he cannot use magic. So he's trying to go about getting these pieces of a spell so that he can try to find a way to cast it and unlock the ability to start casting magic. However, doing so, going through getting all these things, he doesn't do it the most noble of ways, I guess you could say, and he's made a lot of enemies. So he runs into a lot of trouble while trying to get this spell. I really liked it. Like I said, this is only a 4-issue series. Maybe somewhere down the line, this creator could extend this universe or something. I thought it was pretty cool. I really recommend checking out Gutter Magic. That's why it's the pick of the week. But that is everything I picked up this week, everybody. As usual, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, give us a like. Helps put, a little more exposure out there. Bring in so we can all have a bigger discussion each week. Speaking of discussion, put down in the comments what you're buying, what you're liking. If you've read any of the picks recently, or if you disliked any of the picks recently. I'm not a, terribly argumentative guy. I like to listen to opinions and discuss things. So, until next video, this is Adam, signing off.